Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about my marriage and how something that I did in my marriage directly helped my business, and then how it can directly help your business. So this summer in 2020, my husband and I celebrated our 20th anniversary. Yep, amidst COVID. Our trip overseas, of course, did not happen, and we went camping instead. And it was wonderful. You know, marshmallows on the open fire is always a good thing. Not exactly what we'd had planned, but still, it was fantastic. Now, 20 years is nothing to shake a stick at, right? Now, there is something specific that I decided to do early on in our marriage that I attribute to helping set a tone and an expectation and putting one another, I guess, in the forefront, and putting my partner, Jeff, my husband, in a place where he's more important than other things. So we were a little non-traditional in that we have no children. I had a full-time job. I wasn't like the traditional 1950s housewife, so this might come as a little bit of a surprise to you what I did. Now, my job took me away from the home earlier, and I got home earlier every day. Jeff would get home later. I was always there first. Usually I was working on something, a project, outside, cooking, whatever. I was working on something. I wasn't just sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for him to come home. And maybe if he watches this, he'll say, yes, you were. But of course, I wanted to look forward to him coming home because I loved him, of course, 20 years. So what I chose to do is a very traditional 1950s housewife type of a thing. And what I chose to do was that when he came home every night, I would stop what I was doing, whatever that was, and I would go and greet him with a smile and a hello and a kiss. I don't know if I did the kiss every day, but I would go greet him. I would stop what I was doing because I wanted to convey to him that he was more important than whatever task it was that I was working on. And imagine this, if you have a business where you work, a place that you work that is not the best and you don't really like it, you're spending a lot of your time there. And the other part of your time is usually spent at home. If your business is not a great environment, but your home is, that's good. You want to look forward to going home. If your home environment is not great, you don't look forward to going, but your business is fun, you'll probably spend more time there. Well, we already are at a disadvantage in a marriage because there's so much time we spend in business and at work. I wanted to make sure that you wanted to come home and that it was nice and he was looking forward to it. So I chose to stop what I was doing and go greet him. It wasn't easy. I know it might sound easy, but it was not, because oftentimes I was in a project working on something, and yeah, sometimes it did seem like he was interrupting, not his own fault, but it was just the way things were. But I specifically and deliberately chose to stop and say hello. And I have to admit, yeah, probably sometimes I had a beer for him and maybe slippers or something like that. But I did never bring a newspaper to him and give him in a lazy boy chair. That didn't happen. But I took care of him. You know, he's my guy. Well, you might be thinking, how does this translate to business? Well, the way it translates to our business is that I was in this place where I was finding that staff was coming to work and they weren't ready to go, or they were coming into work and the first thing that they would do would be complain about something. And the person who they were partnering with was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't really have time to hear about your drama. We've got stuff to do. We've got people to check in, and they're here right now. Well, I recently had the same conversation with one of my clients, and this person was frustrated because every time that this person would walk in to their place of business, staff would start to bombard her with complaints about other people, or complaints about this not being done or that. And she was just becoming this problem solver. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Well, we want to change that for lots of reasons. One of which is just employee workplace culture. It needs to be a culture of positivity if we want to keep people who are, A players. They're go-getters and they like where they work. Well, the way that we turned this around at the hotel was by teaching what I called the Trifecta. trifecta. It was so much what I did as a 1950s housewife with my husband. We would stop what we were doing, whatever task it was that we were in, when a guest would come in the door, and we'd look at them and we'd smile and we'd give them our greeting. We'd say good morning or good afternoon or good evening or whatever it was. Very simple sounding, yet the execution was a challenge. It took a lot of repetitions. Why? For the same reason it took me so much practice and so much discipline to stop what I was doing when I had a project going on when Jeff got home. The same exact thing. People are motivated by their projects and what they're working on. If you're like 90% through something and you're thinking, oh, I just need 2 more minutes, it's really tempting to have someone just wait while you finish it up. But that doesn't work. That doesn't make for a wonderful customer experience and for people to come in and immediately feel like they're welcomed. And it also is effed up priorities. To be blunt about it, the customer is always the priority. So doing this trifecta, practicing it first between our staff and our customers definitely helped to make sure that the culture we were creating was one of positivity. And it was one where priorities were correct and they weren't backwards. The second thing that it helped to do was to make sure that we were in the right mindset from the get-go. This, from an owner's perspective, was golden. Like I said before, someone would come in and they'd want to complain about, whatever just happened to them. And the person who they were working with would be thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. We've got lots of people that are coming in and we got to get going. Well, when we first started to practice the trifecta with our customers, it just kind of mushed away some of that by default. Well, then we took it to the next step and we decided we need to do this with one another because our employee-to-employee workplace satisfaction is really, really important. And that relationship is vital to making that employee workplace a positive one. So we decided to do this with employee to customer and then with employee to employee and also with employee to vendor. What began to happen is they started to realize they were so freaking important that they got out of their car in the parking lot and they would look up. They weren't focused on like, oh my gosh, the cat just, tore up my whatever and the dog chewed my shoes and I'm late and I spilled coffee on me. They would get out of their head from the moment that they got out of their car, get out of their head and start looking around, and they'd look and train themselves to look for either a vendor or another employee or a customer. More often than not, they would encounter a customer as they just walked through the parking lot and the grounds and then came into the building. Almost always. And our customers found that this just greeting, just a friendly, quick hello greeting, made them feel really special. Now, I'm not talking about pouncing on someone. If someone's in a book, let them read their book. But if a customer looks up at you, my goodness, definitely give them the trifecta, the eye contact, smile, and greeting. It worked wonders. It works for my marriage. It worked for my business. And hopefully, if you want to apply it, it will work to turn employee culture from one of first sight complaints to first sight greeting. That is a winner, winner, chicken dinner application for your business. We want employees that are engaged and are motivated and are happy to be working at our place of business, because that translates to, oh my gosh, a whole nother lesson on why that's important. Now, if you'd like a little help training the trifecta, because like I said, it's not easy, it's a really kind of a weak muscle, I do have a download guide that can walk you through it and help you, something you could just apply to your business in your team meetings and start working on it because it works. I will put the link in the notes below, and I would ask that you please thumbs up the video if you found it useful, and subscribe, of course, and share it if you'd like. I always appreciate your support. We are here to make small businesses thrive. Have a terrific week. Thank you for watching.